Hello, everybody. Token here with the Token and Hobbs Show. I wanted to let you guys know before you started this episode, there were a lot of technical difficulties when it came to recording the show. For some reason, starting off, Lonie wasn't connected, so we couldn't hear him at first. And at about the 20-minute mark of the episode, I don't know why this happened, but first my microphone stopped working. And my internet went out. So about 20 minutes in, there is no Token in the Token and Hobbs Show. It's our guest hosts, Lonie, Dupre, and Hobbs. So that was a bummer, and that's why it took so long to put this episode out. But wanted to let you guys know, before you listen, that there were a lot of technical issues going on during the recording of this episode. So if you can get through that, I hope you enjoy.
You're listening to the Token and Hobbs Show on the Roads to Liberty Network.
Hello. What is up, everybody? It's Tuesday night, and you know what that means. It's another exciting episode of the Token and Hobbs Show here on the Roads to Liberty Network. And today we're joined by a special guest. He's one of the hosts of the Think Liberty podcast, Mr. Lonie Dupre. What is up, man? Lonie, are you with us?
I don't think he is.
Oh, boy. We may be having some technical difficulties. But I'm here, and my co-host, Mr. Hobbs, is here. What's up, man?
It's Tuesday.
It's
once
Tuesday.
Again.
Yep, we are live here on a Tuesday night. I'm going to try to get Lonie back with us. Give me a second to try to fix this out. Talk to us about some conspiracy shit in the meantime, Hobbs.
Well, there was a 27-page report filed by the Fairbanks Institute of Technology and Mines or something like that. Let me look it up here real quick, and we'll talk about it for just a second. I'm gonna scroll up. Here we go. Top engineers release study proving that office fires did not contribute to World Trade Center 7 collapse.
Lonie, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here now.
And we can't.
Woo! I
Awesome.
heard you. All right.
Oh,
We are.
oh, you heard me? All right, cool.
I heard you. We're all together now. Okay, now thank you, Hobbs, for filling in that time while we dealt with technical difficulties and letting us know about the latest and greatest from the wild world of conspiracies. Okay, so before we get into the meat of the episode, a few things I want to fill everybody in on first. Remember, if you're listening to the podcast on whatever podcast app you favor, this is a live stream show. If you want to be part of the conversation, Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Central is when you can do that. We read comments live on the air. Just visit our Facebook page. You can be part of the conversation as well. So if you've ever wondered how we read comments from people, that's how we do it. Also, we just had an episode uploaded yesterday. Kim Ruff and John Phillips of the Ruff Phillips campaign. They're running for president and vice president of the United States under the Libertarian Party. Just uploaded an episode of the two of them yesterday, so go ahead and check that out. And next week, Monday night at 9 p.m. Central, I'm going to have Ken Armstrong, who just announced his bid for the nomination of the Libertarian Party for president. He's going to be on the show next Monday. So if you have questions for him, please check it out. Tune in to the live stream or simply visit our event page and leave a question there, and we'll be sure to pass it on to him. All right, so now with all that out of the way, we can actually get started with the show. And first thing I wanted to talk about is we talk a lot about guns on this show. This is no say. We dedicated almost the entirety of last week's episode to gun-related issues. And we talked.
Wait, y'all are gun nuts? I'm out. No,
Oh,
no,
God,
I'm
get out of
here.
here, Lonnie. But no, we did. We talked some shit about the NRA last a couple weeks ago. I think it was. I think something about how they're a bunch of fake gun supporters. They're only in it for the money. They only support police organizations. They don't actually give a shit about the individual right to bear arms. But I don't think any of us would go so far as to call them a terrorist organization, which is apparently what the city of San Francisco decided to do last week. Let me read you a little bit from the Washington Post. The San Francisco Board of Supervisors passed a resolution Tuesday declaring the National Rifle Association a domestic terrorist organization and urging the city to examine its financial relationships with companies that do business with the group. The sharply worded declaration noted recent acts of gun violence, including the July shooting that killed 3 people, all younger than 26, at a food festival in Gilroy, California, south of San Francisco. Quote, the National Rifle Association musters its considerable wealth and organizational strength to promote gun ownership and incite gun owners to acts of violence, it reads. The National Rifle Association spreads propaganda that misinforms and aims to deceive the public about the dangers of gun violence, and the leadership of the National Rifle Association promotes extremist positions. Extremist positions, I say. In defiance of the views of the majority of its members and the public, and undermine the general welfare. So, Lonnie, you're our guest today. Any thoughts on this?
I mean, I think that sounds absolutely ridiculous. I mean, talk to any. Well, I mean, really more of people that are libertarian and into guns and into gun rights and stuff, and they'll put the NRA through the ringer. I mean, they have nothing good to say about them. I mean, and I tend to agree. I don't know where this stuff from San Francisco is coming from. Well, it's coming from San Francisco, obviously, but you know, it's that doesn't make much sense. I mean, a terrorist organization.
Yeah, that's the thing about that's the thing about the wording in here. Is like the organization promotes gun ownership. Yeah, the National Rifle Association promotes gun ownership. Oh my God. That's amazing.
My shock.
Imagine my shock about that. And that apparently is a terroristic thing to do. It is something encouraging law-abiding citizens to own firearms apparently makes you a terrorist.
Right. This is just more example of the left's little word games that they like to play, and it's also we talked something about a similar thing where they'll word things in such a way so that you subconsciously build up your mental heuristics in order to make immediate word association. So they label the label the NRA a domestic terrorist organization, and then they say that the NRA supports gun ownership, and then they say that they say that what was it, like inciting violence, which the NRA has never incited violence to anybody. But you're immediately going to draw those mental shortcuts in your mind that owning a gun or advocating for gun ownership equals advocating for violence, or simply guns equal violence. And so that's what it's doing. It's a mental conditioning tactic. They don't really think that the NRA is a terrorist organization, but they're hoping that they're going to be able to fool some people into thinking that they are. And unfortunately, it's a tactic that seems to be working a lot of the time, because these people that are fooled by this tend to be those obnoxiously loud social justice warrior types, and the squeaky wheel always gets the grease.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. And they do go into that. They incite gun owners to acts of violence. I've never once heard anyone in the NRA call for an act of violence. I've never heard of an NRA member committing one of these mass shootings that they're always talking about. Now, I've heard of members of the progressive left committing mass shootings, which is very odd because they always try to say that every mass shooting is an act of white nationalism. We all know that that's not true, but now they're trying to say that simply owning a gun and advocating for gun ownership makes you a terrorist. The NRA spreads propaganda and misinforms the public. No, they just disagree with you, and they spread arguments supporting their side of the issue.
Right.
I wish that they would spread propaganda,
Right.
but they don't.
Yeah.
They're too safe.
Right.
They're too safe. They don't want to offend anybody because I get it. They're trying to play the game. They're trying to. Okay, well, maybe we can give a little bit here. I get what they're trying to do. I don't like what they're trying to do. I get it, but I wish that they were not the terrorist organization, but I wish that they were some of these things that they're accusing them of.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I'm a life member of the NRA, and I get a monthly magazine from them. They have like 3 or 4 different publications that you get to choose one when you become a life member that they send to you every month. So I get the one that's more politically oriented from their Institute for Legislative Action, and their positions, they're very very rhetoric heavy, but they're also very statistics heavy and very fact-based heavy. So they do weave a lot of political rhetoric in there, but all of it is backed up with hard numbers. And that's the thing, is that
right,
the people on the other side, they don't seem to care about facts and numbers. They care about feels. It's feels over reals.
Yeah, and it kind of reminds, if anyone watches Game of Thrones, it kind of reminds me, partway through the series, one of the characters is accused of something horrible, and he goes, I wish I was the monster you claim I had. I didn't do this horrible thing, but I wish I had done it.
I actually thought of that quote whenever I was saying that I wish that they were, and I was like, no, let me not do the Game of Thrones thing, but
Right, someone had to do it, so it had to be
yeah.
me. But yeah, I wish the NRA was what they claimed. I wish the NRA was this gung-ho, rah-rah Second Amendment organization that just didn't give a shit about the left's agenda and just decided to fight them tooth and nail on every position they have. I wish they were like that. I wish the NRA actually had guts. I wish they had a set of balls on them, but they don't. We all know they don't. They are moderates. This is what really pisses me off about it. The left likes to pretend that the only reason anybody ever supports gun rights is because the NRA brainwashed us to do it. Like, no, the NRA exists because we support gun rights. That's why the NRA exists, to represent the views of a very large portion of the population. It's not the other way around. And the NRA gets shit from actual gun rights supporters because they're not an actual gun rights organization. They're just a means of funneling money towards a special interest group. That's what the NRA is. Right. And the fact that the left is so obsessed over them is hilarious to me, but also very scary because they could label this moderate gun group a terrorist organization. I mean, what does that mean for NRA members in San Francisco? Are they now members of a terrorist organization? Can they now be prevented from getting on an airplane? Can they now be spied upon and have their phones wiretapped by the city of San Francisco? Because it's a domestic terrorist organization after all. Why not? The implications of this are widespread.
Yeah. And that's what's coming next is the NRA's domestic terror organization. So now they're going to probably, if they get away with this little thing, they're probably going to subpoena the NRA for any membership in their area, in their jurisdiction, and then they're going to label those people as members of a terrorist organization, and then whatever comes with that. Hi, kitty.
For those of you not watching, Lonnie's cat just walked across his keyboard in front of the camera. That was pretty. So the NRA is fighting back. They've decided to sue the city of San Francisco, as well they should.
Yep.
All 11 members of the San Francisco board voted for this. I'll read you a little bit more of what they had to say. Quote, the NRA conspires to limit gun violence research, restrict gun violence data sharing, and most importantly, aggressively tries to block every piece of sensible gun violence prevention legislation proposed at any level, local, state, or federal. Apparently opposing infringements in your Second Amendment rights makes you a terrorist. That is essentially what this document is saying. If you oppose the left's ideals of gun control, you are by definition now a terrorist.
Yep.
And we're terrorists. Oh, you got me. I'm a fucking terrorist now. According to the city of San Francisco.
Boogaloo when?
I don't know, man. Going on. When they use phrases like, I'll give you my gun when you pry it from my cold dead hands on bumper stickers, they're saying reasoned debate about public safety should be met with violence. No. That's not what they're saying. They're saying your attempt to steal your property can be met with violence.
Right. It's an absolutely asimile argument.
The anti-gun people, they're the ones that don't want the debate. They're the ones that want the violence, not gun owners. I used to have some guns before I tragically lost them in a boating accident. But
I'm pressing F right now.
I don't want to shoot anyone. I don't want to hurt anyone. Even if someone's breaking into my house, if they're just trying to take an object, I may use the gun as a, hey, get out of my house. I'm not just going to shoot them for trying to take my Xbox. If they turn around with a crowbar and raise it up, to attack me, that's different. But I have no want or desire to shoot anyone. And, I used to have guns before the accident.
And that is, that seems to be the severe disconnect between people who are wanting to ban guns and people who want to, maintain their right to own firearms, is that we look at them as people with a bad idea, which is banning guns. They look at us as bad people, period. And they just want to, you're just a hair trigger waiting to go off and kill a bunch of people. No, that's not how it is at all. And they use the, what about the children thing, or my personal favorite, which is, why won't you just compromise? Well, compromise requires a little bit of give on both sides. It's like, to them, compromise is, we want to take your guns, but we'll settle for a magazine ban or an assault weapons ban or whatever cockamamie bullshit they come up with today. And if they can get that little one step forward, they're happy with that. And they call that compromise. They get a little and we get nothing.
That's not a compromise.
No, that's not. That's just one small step towards an end goal. If it would be something like, we want a bump stock ban and I want national reciprocity for concealed carry, and we do that exchange, I'm not happy with that, but that would be a compromise. But a bump stock ban, is not a compromise.
Right. With these different kinds of compromises, with these kind of things, if you're going to compromise, and it doesn't mean just guns, but anything, there's going to be some, all right, fine, we'll give you this, but we get this.
Right.
Not like, okay, I compromise. Here they are. Here's all of them.
Yeah.
Do you need the keys to my house too? Here, take those. Yeah.
Right.
Would you like to install? You can install a
Yeah.
camera right there, and you can watch me.
Right. It's like their
Yeah.
consolation to us is we'll shut up until the next conveniently timed tragedy that we can use to advance our position a little bit further. Their temporary silence is their bargaining chip on the table, and our rights are ours. It's like, no, fuck you, dude. Not one more inch.
Yeah, well, even if you get a temporary silence, I don't think you'd even get that from these people. I don't think if they got everything they wanted, short of a complete and total gun confiscation, that you're going to get any sort of silence from them. Anything less than a full ban on firearms, you're not going to get silence on this issue from the left, because that's ultimately what they want.
Well, look at what's going on in the UK right now. They're arresting people for potato peelers.
I mean, here's the thing about it. Here's the thing about it. Their big thing right now is an assault weapons ban. It's complete bullshit and won't make any difference to anything whatsoever, because those so-called assault weapons aren't any more deadly than your average run-of-the-mill hunting rifle. The only difference is they don't look as scary.
Yeah.
All right. Having a collapsible
and with certain.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Lonnie.
No, I was going to say, and with certain kinds of weapons, they want to use like the semi-auto with like the 10 rounds and above. So, well, I have a bolt action rifle that has a 10-round magazine. Is that an assault weapon? It actually is a World War II battle rifle. It's a Lee Enfield.
Yep.
Is that an assault weapon? It's a military weapon.
Right.
The weapon of war.
It is literally
right. It's a literal weapon of war.
Right. That's the thing that they don't seem to understand is like they put that weapon of war label on things that are, neutered facsimiles of the weapons of war of today, when they don't realize that pretty much every single firearm traces its lineage in one way or another to a weapon of war from some time period in the past.
Well, if we look at the gun itself, at its most basic level, its only purpose is to kill. That's what a gun is for. It's to kill. Same as with a sword, a bow, a spear. That's its purpose. I mean, but you're trying to apply this label to, like you said, these neutered weapons. Most of the AR-15s that you can get, they're just highly customizable, and most of the time not in any way in rate of fire or anything. They're highly customizable cosmetically, but functionally they're not really much different from a Mini 14 or a Browning bar, or
right. Right. It's literally just one bullet, one pull of the trigger. And
if we started making AR-15s out of wood, do you think that would be a good way to
I've seen
settle this down if we made them out of wood?
I've seen some wood furnitured ARs and they don't look too bad. I think Nathan's on mute. Nathan, you're on mute.
I must accidentally muted himself.
Yeah. Anyways, so no, can't hear you, Nathan. Fuck tonight.
Jeez.
Nope. Sorry, Nathan.
No.
Drop out and come back.
We'll keep it going somehow, I'm sure.
Can we do that? He's hosting.
I imagine. I don't know.
Oh, look. There we go.
It looks like like it's working.
No, Nathan, we can't hear you. But I can see the God damn it. Anyways, let's see. Let me pull up the notes here real quick, and maybe you and I can just do a show without Nathan. How does that?
He's just gonna hold them up to the screen.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Let's see. What did he have on his notes? No, we can't hear you. No, we're losing. We lost a third of our viewership. We lost a whole viewer.
Yep. Jesus.
Oh, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm bad luck or something.
I don't know, man. We've had a pretty bad run tonight.
No, Nathan.
All right.
Okay, let's see here. Okay, the next thing he has is Antifa calls black man a white supremacist.
Oh, yes.
The black man that they called a white supremacist is Daryl Davis. And if you know who Daryl Davis is, he is responsible for about, I think he had listed it in here, directly responsible for 40 to 60 people leaving the KKK and over 200 indirectly. Just by talking to them.
Yeah, imagine that. What a novel idea, sitting down and talking to people. Who would have thought?
Right. Just, yeah, it's almost as if you have a disagreement that you can just talk and try to understand each other, be open to one another, and maybe you might realize that, hey, I might be wrong. Maybe there's something to what they have to say. But you can't do that if you're holding signs and yelling and throwing bottles and all kinds of other goofy things that they do. Right.
I first heard about this guy back in like 2011 or 2012 when I was still living down in Georgia, and I read it was on a Facebook post about him. It wasn't like a story, it was just a post, and it caught my attention because here's this black guy standing in front of a closet with a whole bunch of like Klan robes hanging up, and I'm like, well, this is
right. I think I saw.
Yeah, it's like this has got to
happen. I saw the same thing. Like it may have been from a documentary or something like that.
Yeah.
I want to say, yeah, it may have been the same thing.
Yeah, and he's standing in front of this closet full of Klan robes, and I'm like, well, this has got to be interesting to read. Like, why is this guy standing in front of these Klan robes? And it turns out that he's a blues musician, and he was playing piano in some bar, and he's playing like, I think it was like Jerry Lee Lewis or something like that, doing Jerry Lee Lewis covers. And after he was done with his set, he went up to the bar and he sat down and he struck up a conversation with a guy, and the guy, he's like, oh, I love Jerry Lee Lewis, and this guy Daryl Davis was like, oh, did you know that Jerry Lee Lewis's main inspiration was some I forget who it was, some black blues musician? And he's like, oh no, I didn't know that. And then he got to talking more and more, and then he found out that the guy was a member of the Klan, and he's like, you know what? He's like, under any other circumstances, I would have hated you, but you've really changed my mind, and maybe y'all ain't so bad. And that guy, went and had his come to Jesus moment, and renounced his Klan membership, and like gave the guy his robes. He's like, I don't want to be a member of the Klan anymore. So then this Daryl Davis guy, he got the idea. He's like, well, maybe I should try to sit down and talk to these people, and maybe just show these people who hate me for no reason that their prejudices aren't founded in any kind of reality. And so he started having conversations with white supremacists and started changing their mind through being their friend, being nice to people that hate you.
Right.
Like, what a novel thought. Killing them with kindness.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, sometimes that's hard to do. I mean, I don't know if I could do that. Like, if I could just find out somebody is like in the KKK and then be like, okay, well, now I'm gonna try some conversational, whatever, and try to see if I can change their mind. I don't know if I could do that. I wouldn't like cuss them out or anything. I'd probably just make up some sort of excuse and walk away and never talk to them again. But
this Daryl Davis guy has to have the patience and temperament of a saint to be able to do what he does, like dozens of times.
Right. Yeah, and in this instance, the reason why it was being brought up is because he was with a group. It was an event. He was a speaker at an Ending Racism event organized by Minds, which was part of a series intended to create dialogue and promote viewpoint diversity.
The dreaded air quotes.
Right. Well,
Lonnie, wait a minute. Do you have kids?
I have one child. Yes.
Okay, is that them screaming in the background?
That is a cat.
Oh, is it? I heard like a
that right there. Yeah, that's a cat.
Okay, I was thinking maybe we got Nathan back because he's got a kid that screams sometimes too. Damn it.
No. But yeah, so Antifa showed up and wanted to try to shut this down because it wasn't the approved viewpoint of anyone who doesn't think like me is a white supremacist. So therefore, Daryl Davis, a black blues musician, gets labeled white supremacist.
Yeah, imagine that. That right there is. This is okay. I gotta grab my honkler here. This is peak clown world, where you've got a black race relations expert who is personally responsible for de-radicalizing upwards of 200 supremacists, whether they be, he said that he's like black and white.
And that's just the ones that, and that's just the ones that we know about. That's not, the random person who may have opened up a Facebook video and seen him and was like, hey, maybe there's something to this, and then went on their own, and just got kind of kickstarted, by something they seen from Daryl. I mean, the guy's in no way, in any shape, form, anything close to a white supremacist.
Or any other supremacist.
Right.
The guy's about as Martin Luther King as it gets.
Right. I mean, it's honestly one of the most ridiculous things that I've seen. I thought it was kind of hilarious. And like he says, he's been called just about every name. I'm sure we can imagine some of those names, but also race traitor, Oreo, a pimp and a prostitute. But first time that he's aware of that he's been called a white supremacist.
Right, and this was at an ending racism event. First and foremost, that's the name of the event. And the fact that he was just willing to have dialogue with people who may be white supremacists or whatever, that was enough to get the artards over at Antifa out there to try and cancel culture. The fact that he would dare talk to these people, give these people a platform, shock horror.
I don't know who else was supposed to be on the event. I don't think I saw a list of the the other speakers or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to put into words because it's just it's so ridiculous.
It's clown world.
You know, yeah. You know, it would be. It's almost like, you know, as if, you know, Martin Luther King rose from the grave, you know, and started saying the same things he was saying in the 50s and 60s, and this happened to him. It likely would happen. That's
right.
That's
that's literally an episode of the Boondocks.
Yeah,
you remember that one? Yeah. Yeah, but it's absolutely insane. And it said in the article I read it the other day, it said something like he had white supremacists and alt-right and white nationalists and all these people, that it was just, you know, just a get together to talk to these people and de-escalate them and say, you know, they're not out, you know, nobody's out to get you. Nobody's out to try and, you know, exterminate the white race or, you know, replacement demographics or whatever boogeyman that you've constructed in order to kind of cloister yourself away and get into these identitarian policies and just, you know, fencing it at ghosts in the shadows and whatnot. And then suddenly Antifa shows up and says, you can't talk to those people. Those are racists. They're unpeople. They're not even human. And it's like, you dumb motherfuckers are undoing everything that this guy is trying to do. You are making it worse. And that right there to me has, like, I tried to put it into words a few weeks ago, actually, when I was talking with Nathan on one of these shows, is that Antifa is causing this sort of prison mentality. And that not just Antifa, but the far left is causing this prison mentality where it's like if I'm a white guy and I get sent to prison, like a max security prison, like I'm going to seek out the Aryan Brotherhood and get buddy with them just to avoid getting killed or raped in the shower. I don't agree with them, but, you know, it's a self-preservation thing. And that is what these Antifa retards are doing by unpersoning and deplatforming. It's like, you know, anybody that might have that tiny little shred of they're out to get me, they look at these Antifa rallies, it's like, oh, wow, they really want to kill white people. I'd better hook up with some white people just to save my own ass.
Right. Yeah, I mean, when the reason people have most of these beliefs is because of fear and misunderstanding. Don't make what they mistakenly believe in a reality. You know? Yeah, I was kind of wondering, like, if I get sent to prison, like, where do I go? Because I'm mixed. I'm half Mexican. Where do I go? Can I be in both the Latin Kings and the Aryan Brotherhood? Like, how does that work?
You're the ethnic
don't
land
have to tattoo half of
that's
my
going
face.
to bring them together. Yeah. You're gonna bring the Latin Kings and the Aryan Brotherhood together and form some type of new prison super race.
Yeah, you know, and that's like some of the other thing that I see from a lot of these Antifa types is this. Some of them almost want like a segregation of races too. It's weird. It's in some woke fashion, not in a, you know, 1940s Southern America fashion. But it's, you know, it's kind of like, okay, well, what are people like me supposed to do?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know, I may be blonde haired.
I mean, I kind of,
you know,
Yeah, I mean, I kind of happen to think that, I was kind of what, people like Martin Luther King were kind of going for, the people of two different races coming together, and starting
Yeah.
a life together, and yeah, all this kind of stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I kind of think, that's progress. That's racial tensions subsiding. That's, all these things. But I don't know, I guess I'm wrong. I don't
Yeah,
know.
your existence is a lie.
Yeah. Right.
Right, but they
And
want to completely undo everything that's been done since the 1960s on that front. It's just that instead of the heavy hand of the majority population through the state coming down and segregating everyone off as being less than, what they're doing is through some type of like social pressure, they're separating everyone off and calling it safe spaces. It's like if
right.
we put it in this positive light, segregation is a-okay.
Right. Yeah. And of course, you're going to relate more, to, I guess, people that look like you. I mean, you have a tendency to, in your mind, think that they probably kind of understand you a little bit better. It's a natural human kind of tendency to do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, that doesn't mean that you need to, white people can't understand my culture, so I'm gonna keep it to myself,
Right.
or vice versa. I don't know. That's and the thing is that that's what people like Daryl Davis is fighting against. Trying to bridge all those gaps and trying to tear down those walls and all that.
Right, and that man single-handedly has done more to heal any kind of racial divide in this country than Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton and Barack Obama combined.
Right.
I don't know. We're kind of running up on an hour here, and we haven't really. I don't even know if we're broadcasting right now, to tell you the truth.
I have no idea. I have no idea. It says there's 0 viewers, so I don't know if like we lost the thing or what. I don't know if it's.
Yeah, it says
I'm gonna
live
check Facebook and see. Yeah, I'm gonna
Yes.
check Facebook and see if this would be on the roads to liberty, right?
Yeah, and I went there to try and start a watch party, and it didn't have anything.
And
Yeah.
no, it just says going live.
Oh, I guess we are, because Nathan's watching us. Says I don't even know if we're broadcasting right now.
Right.
Weird.
Okay. No, it's what you have in your watch party is playing. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We might have to do something some other time.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah. So, I guess I'll close us out tonight and say that why don't you plug your institution first?
Okay. Yeah. I'm with Think Liberty. I was one of the co-founders of it. I also run the Twitter account for Think Liberty. So I guess if you want to see more of my, because they kind of just let me kind of run it almost like a personal Twitter. They said I could pretty much do whatever I want. I don't have to be as safe over there, I guess. So, if you want to, see more of me, I guess go there. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've been doing Think Liberty for a good while now. We're at likes, bunch of followers, stuff like that. It's going pretty good. Bunch of writers and stuff now. Yeah,
Good.
it's good stuff.
Awesome.
But yeah, I'm probably one of the worst people to ask about things that are going on, because like I don't even like look at like the Facebook page and stuff. Like I'm too busy trying to keep the Twitter working and stuff like that. So I barely look at the rest of that. But yeah, I'm also a guest host or a co-host. I don't know exactly how what my actual title is, either guest or co-host of the Think Liberty podcast, which is on the Think Liberty network, which can be found probably anywhere where you can find a podcast, iTunes, Stitcher, anywhere. So if you want to go check that out, we have several different shows there. Yeah, different kinds of topics and stuff like that. The show about philosophy, some other economics kind of stuff, and yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, I don't know if this is being recorded or what's going on, or if anybody is watching, but if you can hear this and you don't know where to find us, this is the Roads to Liberty podcast group. You can find us on Facebook and Stitcher and Anchor and iTunes and all those other things, except for, I think, Spotify is the one that's being a bit obstinate and not wanting to let us on. We're on Facebook and Minds and Instagram, and I think we have a Twitter, but I don't know if anybody does anything on it because Twitter is an ocean of piss. And
hey,
I can't stand Twitter. I had it for like 3 weeks. I was like, this is too much, too fast. I don't like it.
yeah, it is a little different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll run a poll on Facebook, and I'll run the same one on Twitter, and we'll get completely opposite opinions.
Yeah, Twitter is a special place. You must never go there. Anyways, yeah, it's we also have a website, Roads 2 Liberty.com. One solid word. That's not Roads 2 spelled out. That's Roads 2 Liberty.com. Check it out. Read articles. Catch our podcasts and whatnot. And that is about it. So say bye to anybody who might still be watching. Have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you in a couple of days.